Ladies and gentlemen, guys and girls, my name is Raven. Patch 7.1.5 is on its way. So today we're going to be going over all of the changes coming to the Mage class that we know about so far, and holy fuck, there is a lot of them. I've done all the legwork for you guys so you don't have to. Just sit back, relax, grab a cup of tea, and have a listen to what's happening to your class or spec. Please keep in mind that yes, this is a PTR build, so things may change, but then again, things can also stay exactly the fucking same. We've seen that happen in the past, where Blizzard put something in the beta and it stayed the entire way through. Keep in mind, things can change, but then again, it might also stay the same. Prepare yourselves for that. Whether that's good or bad is going to be purely up to you, but we're going to be starting with the Fire Mage, and I can tell you there is a whole lot of things happening to every single Mage spec, so keep that in mind. It's going to be a bit of a long one. So, Fire Mages have several big talent changes and spellbook changes, as well as some number changes. Cold Snap has been removed and replaced by Blazing Soul, which does the following. Dealing fire damage refills your Blazing Barrier by 40% of damage done. Cauterize now is a passive in your spellbook and has been replaced in the talent tree by Blast Wave. A new talent called Alexstrasza's Fury has taken the spot left behind in the talent tree by Blast Wave and does the following. Dragon's Breath will now always critical strike and will contribute to Hot Streak. Ice Flows has been removed completely and has been replaced by Frenetic Speed, and it does the following. Casting Scorch increases your movement speed by 30% for 3 seconds. Molten Armor, the passive in your spellbook, has been completely removed, and the new spell has been added called Blazing Barrier, which is like Frost Shield but looks all fiery, and it is cool as fuck. I got to test it out. It looks sick. Blast Wave now causes an explosion around yourself instead of an enemy, and its bonus damage has been reduced to 100% instead of 200%. Controlled Burn now has a 20% chance to proc, up from 10%. Fire Starter now includes Pyroblast as well as Fireball, and it has its chance to crit on high health targets is now 90% instead of 85%. Flame On now reduces the cooldown of Fire Blast by 3 seconds and increases the maximum number of charges by 1. Flame Patch now does 400% of spell power instead of 200% as bonus damage. Meteor now does 1100% of spell power instead of 562.5% of spell power. Combustion now increases your critical strike chance by 100% and grants you mastery equal to 50% of your critical strike stat. Critical Mass now has a 15% increased chance to crit and also increases your critical strike stat from all sources by 10%. Oh boy, so that's the Fire Mage done. Now we're going to be moving on to Frost. Frost has changes both to the talent tree and to the spellbook, as well as spell number changes in the tweakings. Alright, so Cold Snap is removed and has been replaced by Glacial Insulation, which does the following. Ice Barrier increases your armor by 50% while active, and Ice Block applies Ice Barrier when it fades. Cauterize has been removed and replaced by Ice Flows in the talent tree. In Tier 5, where Ice Flows used to be, it has been replaced by Frigid Winds, which does the following. All of your chilling effects reduce the target's movement speed by an additional 15%. Frost Armor has been completely removed from the spellbook. Frozen Touch now increases your chance to generate Fingers of Frost charges by 40% and increases the maximum number of Finger of Frost charges by 1. Glacial Spike now deals 1000% spell damage, up from 750% spell damage. Rune of Power increases your spell damage by 40% now instead of 50%. Unstable Magic Frost Bolts now have a 25% chance to explode, up from 20%. Cone of Cold now does 50% of spell power instead of 28.62% of spell power. Blizzard Damage only has a 2% chance to proc Fingers of Frost charges, down from 5%. Frostbolt now does 195% of spell damage, down from 210% of spell damage. Ice Barrier will now slow people who attack you by 50%, but will no longer stop spell casting from being interrupted. Ice Lance now does 120% of spell damage, up from 89% of spell damage. And that is it for the Frost Mage. We're going to be moving on to Arcane. Arcane has several talent changes and spellbook changes, as well as number changes. Like I said, every single thing is being changed. So, Presence of Mind is now baseline in your spellbook and has been replaced in the talent tree by Amplification. Cold Snap removed and replaced with Mana Shield, which does the following. Prismatic Barrier has no cooldown but drains 50% of your mana based on the damage it absorbs. Cauterize has been removed and replaced by Slipstream. Ice Flows has been removed and replaced with Chrono Shift in Tier 5. Chrono Shift does the following. Arcane Barrage slows enemies' movement speed by 30% and increases your movement speed by 30% for 8 seconds. Quickening has been removed and replaced with Temporal Flux, which does the following. Arcane Blast cast time is reduced by 5% for each arcane charge. New spell, Prismatic Barrier, like Frost Shield but arcane and cooler. Mage Armor has been removed completely from the spellbook. Arcane Missiles now do 221.5% of spell power, up from 201% of spell power. Arcane Orb now does 500% of spell power, up from 81.7% of spell power damage. That's a fuckload. Nether Tempest now only deals 56% of spell power as damage instead of 66%. Overpowered. Arcane Power now increases damage by 100% and reduces mana cost by 100%. Words of Power. The proc chance is now 25% up from 20%. Arcane Blast now does 192.4% of spell power, up from 181.5% of spell power damage. Arcane Missiles now does 221.5% of spell power, up from 209% of spell power damage. And that is it for the Mage class so far. That is the direction the Mage class is going in so far. Let me know in the comments down below if you like the changes they're going for. If you don't, let me know as well. And if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos from me, please hit the subscribe button. I shall see you all in the next video. Have a good one.